She used her child for wealth, but little did she know that riches brought with sorrow always return for their price. In the quiet heart of the old village of Ipetu, where the wind and the sound of pastures echoed like the heartbeat of men, there once lived a young woman named Ajoke. Ajoke was beautiful beyond words, the kind of beauty that made market women pause mid-sale and old men whisper. From childhood, Ajoke had always been different. While other girls giggled about marriage and dreamed of handsome husbands, Ajoke's heart moved elsewhere. She despised the thoughts of belonging to any man. She wanted freedom, wide, endless freedom, like the sky after rainfall. Her parents, though proud of her grace and strength, often feared the stubbornness in her heart. When she came of age, suitors flooded their compound. Hunters, palm wine tappers, traders, even sons of chiefs. Each came with gifts, baskets of kola nuts, bashes of palm wine, wrappers from distant lands, and so on, and each left disappointed. Ajoke refused them all. She would bow politely, thank them with a smile, but her eyes remained cold, distant like the face of a river that hides its depths. Time went on, and one by one, all the maidens of her age were married in grand style. But Ajoke was not moved. Her mother wept and prayed for her heart to soften. Yet Ajoke's spirit was carved from stone. Whispers began to rise across the village that she was cursed, that no man's shadow would ever rest beside hers. To silence the tongues, her parents forced her into marriage. They chose Adekunle, a kind farmer, patient, hardworking, and hopeful that love could heal anything. But love cannot grow where the soil rejects the seed. From the day Ajoke stepped into Adekunle's home, peace fled. She moved with pride, spoke little, and walked only where she pleased. While Adekunle toiled in the sun, she wandered through the forest or sat by the stream, admiring her reflection. The villagers pitied Adekunle, who was gentle, undeserving of such coldness. They warned him to take another wife, but he would always smile sadly. He loved Ajoke with pretense, enduring her silence and her distance. But even pretense has its edge. When Ajoke became pregnant, Adekunle rejoiced. He believed the child would bind her heart, but the growing life within her only deepened her restlessness. She hated the weight of her belly that reminded her of her chains she thought she had escaped. While other women sang lullabies to their unborn children, Ajoke sat awake beneath the moon, whispering to herself. When the child was born, it was a beautiful baby boy. The village came alive with celebration. Drums beat softly as neighbors came to greet the new mother. But Ajoke's smile was thin and forced. Each cry of the baby echoed in her heart like a curse. Days before weeks, she felt no warmth for the child. Her mind drifted again, back to the dreams of freedom, riches, and power. She longed for a life where she would bow to no man and depend on no one. One night, as the moon glowed over the forest, she remembered a name. Babaro, the old herbalist who lived beyond the western hill. People said he could turn poverty into wealth, sorrow into laughter, and life into silence. That name burned in her mind until she could no longer resist. At dawn, Ajoke wrapped her baby in a soft cloth, laid him gently on the mat, and pretended she was going to fetch firewood, but her feet carried her elsewhere, beyond the farms into the thick forest, where the air smelled of mystery. She found the huts of Babaro, a place where the wind did not move. Skulls hung by the doorway, feathers of strange birds carpeted the ground. Ajoke did not speak, yet the herbalist seemed to know why she had come. He told her that wealth and freedom demand a price, and that the spirit required a life, the life she had brought into the world. Ajoke froze. Terror filled her eyes. She turned and fled, swearing to never return. How could she leave her holy son, she thought. But that night she could not sleep. She imagined herself in fine wrappers, surrounded by servants, walking through fields of gold. The more she dreamed, the colder her heart became. By the third night, she had made her choice. The child she once carried with pain became the price for her dream. When Adekunle left for the farm the next morning, Ajoke carried her son to Baba Aro's hut. She laid the baby before him, her hands trembling. Tears rolled down her cheeks as the herbalist praised her courage and told her to return after 3 days. Ajoke left the hut with a heart torn in two. Moments before, she had been heavy with sorrow. Now a strange excitement filled her. In 3 days, she would have everything she had ever wanted. But then she remembered her husband. What would she tell him? What would people say? She began to think. After long thought, she found her answer. She gathered a wrapper and a few clothes, went to the river, soaked them in water, and screamed until the villagers heard her. She cried that the river had risen suddenly and taken her child. The people gathered, made such demands while women comforted her. When nobody was found, they believed her story. Adekunle wept through the night. He remembered the warnings of his friends that Ajoke's heart was not easy to keep. In grief and anger, he sent her away the next morning. Instead of Ajoke to beg, Ajoke left without begging. Because she did not love him at first, her tears were forced, her heart already somewhere else. She went to a small hut near Baba Aro's hut and waited until the 3rd day. When she returned, the herbalist gave her a final warning. Every new moon, she must offer a dog covered in pure white feathers. That was the condition to keep her wealth and life. Ajoke smiled. A dog? Just that? What an easy task, she thought. Overjoyed, she left, not caring for the rest of Babaro's words. Weeks passed, and Babaro's promise came to life. Her farm prospered. Her barns overflowed. Goats and cows filled her compound. Her beauty grew brighter than ever. People began to call her the woman favored by the gods. She became the envy of every maiden. They whispered that perhaps Ajoke had been right to reject marriage, that maybe she had found a hidden path to greatness. Even Adekunle came one day, seeking forgiveness, but Ajoke, clothed in silk and pride, only looked away. Her heart had grown too proud for mercy. Each new moon, she went quietly to the river to offer a pure white duck, the price of her fortune. As long as the ritual continued, her wealth remained untouched. 2 years passed like calm water. Then one month, the rhythm of the world shifted. Our servants returned from the market with troubled faces. There was no white dog. Every dog carried a single black feather, hidden beneath a wing or at the tip of its tail. Ajoke sent them again and again, but none returned with what she sought. Even the fishermen swore that all white dogs had vanished from the streams. Days turned into weeks, and still she found none. Her heart began to tremble with echo of Baba Aro's warning. In desperation, she took one dog and plucked out the black feather. But before her eyes, it grew back darker than before. She slaughtered another in anger. Its blood flowed white as chalk. Fear gripped her chest. That night, she sent for Baba Aro, but its heart was gone. Only ashes remained, as if the heart has been burnt. Ajoke could no longer sleep. In her dreams, she heard the cry of a baby, faint, persistent, calling her name. The cry followed her into working hours, hiding in rustle of leaves, whispers of wind. Then the night of the new moon arrived. She went to the river bank as she always had. She whispered her usual chant, but flame of her lamp flickered and died. A cold wind blew, carrying the sound of a child's cry across the water. Being gripped her neck, she fell to the ground, screaming. Her voice tore through the forest, and then she vanished. By morning, our compound was silent. Our servants were gone. Our barn stood empty. Our wealth had turned to dust. On her bed lay nothing but white feathers, countless and gold. The villagers found no trace of her, but on moonlight nights, the elders swear they still hear a woman crying by the river bank and calling a child's name the wind cannot carry. No one knew exactly what happened to her, and so they tell their children True wealth comes from hard work. Anything else will vanish like smoke before morning. What did you learn from the story? Let me know in the comments section. See you in the next story.